All right, so we took on a custom cabinet job, having never built cabinets before, and yeah, a lot of this went wrong. We remade boxes, messed up measurements, and basically learned everything the hard way. But somehow ended up with a finished product we're actually proud of. So here's how that went.
We're jumping straight into the build on this one. This is our first full custom cabinet job. And yes, it is for family, so the pressure's still there, and it might be even more. Now technically, we've built cabinet boxes before for Logan's house, but as of the making of this video, those are still unfinished. So this is really the first time we're seeing a full cabinet project all the way through for KinCraft and Touch of Spice. For materials, we kept it pretty standard. Pre-finished plywood for the boxes, and solid oak for the face frames and trim. Nothing crazy. This build's not about doing anything fancy, it's about getting it right for our first time. Or at least figuring out how to get it right as we go. We spent a good amount of time at the start just breaking everything down, ripping full sheets, getting rough dimensions, and trying to stay organized, which didn't always happen. And once you start cutting into the plywood, things get real pretty quick. We also tried to think ahead on layout, keeping grain direction consistent where it mattered and making sure anything visible would actually look intentional once it was all together. This part sounds simple, but it's easy to overlook when you're just trying to get boxes cut. And honestly, a lot of this first stage was just figuring out a system once again. How we were cutting, assembling, keeping parts together, all the stuff you don't really think about until you're in the middle of it. And let me remind you, we are not a cabinet shop. We're a furniture shop trying to build cabinets, and that difference showed up real quick. With furniture, you're usually focused on one piece at a time, taking it slow and dialing in details. Cabinets don't really work like that. It's all about systems, repeatability, and getting a bunch of parts to come out exactly the same. And that's something we were learning on the fly.
Just taking a quick peek and seeing if we're getting close. Nope. Yep, still don't know what I'm doing.
And then there's the tools. Cabinet shops are set up to handle full sheets and move through jobs efficiently. And not only the tools, it's their experience. Those guys know their dimensions, their layouts, and their processes by heart, where we are used to more one-off work. So a lot of this was us double-checking numbers, thinking through the cuts, and making sure everything actually lined up before we committed to it.
Such a good song. They can't hear it, but it's a good song.
And so once everything was cut down, it was actually time to start building these boxes, and we kept things pretty simple, nothing too crazy. We just followed the method that we picked up from Northeast Woodworks. And I mean, the process is simple. Basically, everything gets cut to size. From there, you just tack it together with this brad nailer. They act as a temporary hold until we go back and then we pre-drill and then screw everything together solid. Nothing too fancy, but it worked. And at this point, really, that's all we needed. By the end of day one, we were actually feeling pretty good. I mean, we had all the materials broke down and honestly, probably over 90% of the boxes built. So literally at this point, we're thinking this might actually be a quick one. Maybe we should become cabinet makers. The only problem is at this point, we didn't realize yet that building the boxes was the easy part, which is both kind of funny as well as nerve-wracking because if you listen to Tanner at all earlier, he told you my own personal kitchen isn't even finished. It's literally just boxes. No face frames, no doors, just a half-built kitchen sitting there. So yeah, we were still confident at this point.
Wait. Who's this bearded fellow that's keeping us company, I bet you're wondering? Well, none other than the oldest Spicer boy, Jacob. Let us know if you want to see more of Jake in other videos. I mean, we are called KinCraft for a reason, so drop a comment down below. As Logan said earlier, these boxes came together insanely easy. Brad nails and screws were quite effective and very structural. And me personally, I'm a believer of if you can build a box, you can really build anything. I mean, think about it. I'm sure a lot of our first builds were a box of some sort. Floating shelves, nightstands, and maybe some small cabinets that were for your garage.
We're back. As you can tell, all the carcasses have finally been built, but we're starting to run into issues, concerns, questioning ourselves on our first ever commission to build. One thing we know we gotta do, we gotta remake some cabinets. That's our mistake, it's oversight. This microwave cabinet,
obviously microwave is gonna go in the space. So the spec needs to be the opening requirements to fit. It's a 30-inch microwave. We ended up making this whole cabinet overall 30 inches. So obviously when our face frames are on and on this, not gonna fit. That's problem number one. Due to that, we also were in here looking at this full corner Lazy Susan upper, and we realized a couple things. The main things being that this face frame, in order to cover this, we needed an end panel here. So if we did that, that would push everything out 3/4 of an inch, causing it to not be symmetrical with this. So we're gonna end up remaking this, shrinking things down. We're gonna add spacers on each of our Lazy Susan corners, more so just for a symmetry purpose, but also for our full overlay door purpose. You'll see later in the video. So we gotta add stringers on each of these to space things out, as well as remake this cabinet now, remake this cabinet. And we also did that same mistake with our fridge cabinet, making it 36 inches instead of the 37-inch spec that we needed for the opening requirements. So we got a lot to do, we got a lot to remake, and a lot of learning still to go on. But if you follow along, we might eventually get done with the kitchen. Might.
So, after we got boxes knocked out, this is where we kind of shifted gears a bit. This part right here, this is what we're used to. Up to this point, with the cabinets, we were figuring a lot out as we went, but this, milling lumber, getting things flat, square, consistent, this is the stuff that we've done a lot of. Everything for the face frames or drawer boxes started right here. And if this part's off, even just a little bit, it compounds the whole way through the build. So we're not doing anything crazy, it's just the process. Run everything across the joiner first, get one good flat face on it, and that alone will make a huge difference, because if you don't start flat, you're chasing a problem the whole time. From there, it just goes through the planer. And that's just to bring everything down to a consistent thickness, which is sort of crucial with drawer slides. We're using Celiche undermount slides here, made for 5/8 material, so we'll dial these drawer box components down to that exact spec before moving forward.
Then we were off to the table saw to rip all the newly milled boards down to a uniform width. And at this point, one thing we were starting to realize pretty quick was that the more precise you are on the front end, the less you're fighting things later. And after already going through the cabinet boxes, we didn't really want to fight anything else if we didn't have to. So yeah, this part felt good. It was familiar. It was repetitive and not very exciting, but it's one of those things where you just kind of keep your head down and you knock it out. And honestly, after the stress of trying to figure out the math of the cabinets, it was a bit of a reset for us. No guesswork, just doing what we knew. And at the same time, we knew what all this was leading into, because once this is done, we're now onto face frames, drawer boxes, and stuff that actually shows your craftsmanship. This isn't the stuff that's getting hidden behind anything. People will see this day in and day out. So even though this part seems simple, it matters just as much as everything else we did in this build. If your material's off, your gaps, your thickness, things don't line up, if things aren't square, you're fighting it the whole way through with little to no fixes. And it's pretty funny looking back now, because this was one of the few parts of this build where we actually felt comfortable, like we knew what we were doing. Which doesn't last forever, so don't take it for granted. Because once all of this was milled and ready to go, it was game time. We actually had to try to make everything come together.
Well, here we have it. The beauty of YouTube is we did not make you sit through and watch all these luscious face frames get constructed. They're not yet on. We're gonna use our fancy LaMelo Zeta P2 for that job. So that's coming up here real shortly. Basically, we'll draw our lines just like a domino and then cut them out. From there, our shelves have been cut. We got a few more to cut yet and get them put in. All shelf pin holes are drilled. We gotta edge band our shelves. We gotta finish building our island. We gotta still do drawer slides. We still gotta add in our Lazy Susans. There's still a lot to do, but it's nothing that me and Tanner can't handle together as a team. I do know that. So,
Boys, here, right?
here we go. Well, walk with me and we'll talk about the refrigerator. Come down here.
It's a mini fridge.
As the people can tell right now, a fridge is not gonna fit under this very well. So we have to make some fridge panels to raise it up to the 70.5-inch height that is required for this fridge. Another thing to know about this fridge, it is 33.5 inches deep. Well, standard cabinet depth is 24 inches deep. So in order to make this look custom, even though the renderings did not show it, we're gonna be nice. We're gonna go ahead and make it the normal 30-inch depth. That way the doors can still open, close as they should. So our panels will be 30-inch on each side. Yes, the cabinet will only be 24-inch deep, but beyond that, it's just dead space. So we'll build a little backer whenever we're mounting it, mount it to the wall, everything will be kosher. So we'll get this guy up off the ground and start to see it kind of look like a kitchen. Yeah? No? Maybe? So we have those panels to do. Then, since it's 30 inches with our scraps, our fall offs, they'll be 18 inches. We'll be able to get our side panel decorative panels here. That'll be a little over 10 inches, as well as our decorative panels here and here, a little over 10 inches. Then we also still have decorative panels here and here. That'll be cabinet depth and to the normal height there. Lots of panels. I mean, lots of panels to do. So we'll just keep getting it. Oh, and don't forget MDF panels as well. Lots of panels. How'd I do?
Oh, you're still going.
I did good.
You did good.
I did
Yes,
good.
You did very good.
Don't you ever yell at me again.
I saw a flipping motion. And sometimes I question your ability to listen.
I was fighting it.
Okay.
I was fighting it.
I'm
Say it.
I don't believe you.
No, that's not the words you were supposed to say.
I was fighting. What was I supposed to say?
I'm sorry.
You got jokes.
Should have had another cup before that happened. Oh.
That was my favorite cup.
We didn't need to spin it in this, right? That was way harder. That's for earlier.
I did it with a scrap an 1/8 inch thick.
We're even.
First my cup.
It broke, huh?
Yeah.
What happened?
Fell 3 feet.
Dude, what happened? I am so sorry.
You wrecked my boat, you fucking.
I'd love to sit
It'd be
and chit-chat.
different if it was just the handle, but no, you had to chip that.
I'd love to chit chat. I got work to do though.
So a quick explanation as to why we're building these spacers and reinforcing them is there's going to be seating under there. The people we were doing this for do not have a dining table, so they're using the island for seating. We have 24-inch deep cabinets. If you sneeze behind that okay. Sorry, I thought Logan was about to ruin this. Those cabinets are 24 inches deep. These are roughly 11.25-inch spacers. We're gonna have 3/4-inch MDF that looks like faux shiplap, and then there will be 12 inches of seating. But what I just did is reinforce these to quit that rack, as well as allocate for room on each side to run stringers to also quit racking that way lengthwise of it. Got it?
I think we got it.
It's like we're two brothers having fun while working.
We are having fun. This is fun. Is it? Yeah. We got our little extension finished here. This on site, we'll end up putting a flat panel here, just of the plywood, just so we have a screwing point for our actual face. Now it's time to actually cut those panels and start making this look more like a island. So it's going to be a 4-foot island top, so 48 inches. With that, we're gonna do an 1 3/16 overhang over there, 1 3/16 overhang over here, leaving us with 45 and 5/8 panels. So we're gonna cut one panel, it's gonna get a 45, some odd amount coming this way, another 45, and then going back into here. This all be a faux shiplap panel here, and then the same extension over there.
You get
If
it?
it doesn't make sense, it will when we make it.
Hopefully.
We just have to make it. Let's cut some plywood. No, MDF. Let's cut
MDF,
some
get it right.
Grab this little guy here and talk about how we're on to our favorite aspect, at least my favorite aspect of this entire project. And I say that as if I've actually built a kitchen before, which we've not, but we have done some smaller built-ins, and this was my favorite part of it, actually getting to use our $2,000 LaMelo Zeta P2, make use of it. But in the long run of things, these cabinets go from basically just looking like cabinets to looking like a finished piece after today. So it's one of my favorite aspects of the day. There's just a whole lot of LaMeloing to be done. So it's gonna be a while, but we'll get there as a team.
The arms are gonna be shot.
As a team.
If you'd have dropped that, I'd have it come apart.
All right, so this right here, this thing felt like cheating a little bit, I'll be honest with you. This is the LaMelo Zeta P2. And honestly, this is one of those tools that makes you look like you know exactly what you're doing. Which, if you're following the theme of this whole video and build, fits pretty perfect for this one. And so if you don't know, again, Northeast Woodworks has excellent content on this and is actually the reason we ended up buying the LaMelo. But basically what it's doing is cutting a slot for these connectors that then lock everything together. And the coolest part is, it's not just for alignment. Unlike dominoes, these actually have holding power. And I mean, on a job like this, the first time building cabinets, anything that helps you stay accurate and not fighting it the whole way, I mean, we're all in. One of the biggest things with this setup that we didn't even fully think about at first was how much it helps with the finishing side of things. Let me try to paint you the picture here. Instead of building everything as one big piece, we can keep face frames separate, finished in panels separate, and actually stain or finish them individually. We're not fighting or having to drag full cabinets into a paint booth, not taping everything off, not trying to work around stuff that's already assembled. We can then literally bring the cabinets on site, set the cabinet box, and then attach the face frame there. But hey, that's enough for now. Stick around for part 2 where we actually go over how we finished these cabinets.
It's been a bit, but we're finally back. Really not a whole lot has actually changed. I think the last thing we did was LaMelo's. And so from that point, it was kind of just a standstill for us. We did some sanding in between. But finally, our doors have come in. There's good and there's bad to this. The doors are in, however, not all of them came in for some reason. None of our MDF paneled doors for the paint grade island came in. So we called the company. Needless to say, they're coming, but it's gonna be delayed, obviously. The other thing is we did not request hinge boring, though they did it. I'm hoping that they did it to the right depth. We told them full overlay, so hopefully once we get our hinges on, they're at the full overlay depth, everything will work out kosherly. Next, we started kind of fiddling through the doors. Construction-wise is great. I would recommend this company again for that aspect and everything in between. However, we had to rebuild some cabinets, and in such, we realized that we might have ordered some doors wrong. And so here we are. This is a 30-inch cabinet here. So we went to check things out, see how it's laying. Fits perfectly in terms of our full overlay. We have an eighth and an eighth, or 16 and 16th, I don't remember either which way. We have a decent reveal on each side of this face frame. However, if you come over here, we must have mathed wrong somewhere because we have zero room to put in the hinges of the microwave cabinet. Now, that being said, there still is hope. There still is a way because we did order the doors to the right size. So they still do fit in there perfectly, half and half to keep our full overlay. The only thing is we were gonna rebuild these today, but we caught something that we could do. We built the face frame, so we have the ability to adjust the face frames. And so rather than adjusting, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our 1.5 inch material, we'll slide one in on each side, glue it, Craig it, everything like that, sand it in good. Should be seamless in the long run of things. If all goes well there, then we'll have nice screen points for our hinges, and we don't have to remake at least these 2 doors. We will still have to remake this door as well as our Lazy Susan door. We did it to the full overlay spec, but soon realized that with these being full overlay into here, this door coming a full overlay into here, it's just not gonna open, it's not gonna work out. So we'll have to for sure remake this door as well as this door. But hopefully that's it. Everything else looks right. So we got a lot of work ahead of us. Stay tuned and hopefully we get this kitchen closer by the day. All right, and just like that, part 1 has come to a close. Us building the cabinets out, part 2 is gonna be coming. But what is here is spring. March 20th, first day of spring is here, and we're out enjoying this beautiful day with the kids at the playground.
So, be sure to be on the lookout for part 2. It's the finishing side of it, as well as all of the other trials and tribulations we had while doing these cabinets for the first ever time. And while you're there, we should have a video coming out about Logan's cabinets too, see how that went. And while you're still there, why don't you take a gander, subscribe, hit the bell. We just hit 100 today. It's a good day. It's a beautiful day. Thank y'all.